Community Viewpoint.
And welcome once again to Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pawlak, your host for this segment. And, well, you know what happens this time of the year. It's getting close to Christmas, so we've asked Scott Lewis, our fire chief from Pahrump. There he is, right there. Hi, Scott.
How are you?
Talk to us about fire safety once again for Christmas. It's an important time of the year. We do something at this time of the year. We go nuts with our electric wiring, with our trees, with our power, and let's ask Scott some of the things we shouldn't be doing or what we should be doing to make our life a little bit safer. I have some props out here also. So, and let's look at some of the holiday tips that we have. I have a little flyer that's up there. One of the things that we see on the flyer is don't overload your electrical sockets. And part of that, let's look at this here. We have a power strip. Let's go back to the live shot. And then these are two power strips that are connected together. You put this in the outlet, your overloaded outlet. And then you had this one power strip and another one because you needed more strings of light to be plugged into someplace. Now, is this safe or not?
No, absolutely it's not safe. There's a number of reasons for it. One of the first considerations is to look at the device. What is the application of it? Is it for interior or exterior use?
Yes.
You want to make sure that it has a circuit breaker on it so that would actually trip in the case that it was overloaded, so it wouldn't put that additional stressors onto the system. We noticed that there's material coming out of here, so this probably was on a hay pile or something like that in an exterior application. Yes. But this would be used strictly for interior. The other thing too is on the bottom, it'll rate how many amps.
Yes.
And we're not trying to instruct people how to be electricians, but the basics, they need to know how many amps and then how much the draw is going to be. So would this be able to handle the draw that's intended to be used for? And then we want to look for that UL rating.
Yes.
And the UL rating, we want to make sure that it's an actual valid UL rating and not something that's just been applied aftermarket.
Because people do that, huh?
They do.
Yes.
And so we want to take all those initial precautions, and we want to look at the type of outlet that it is. Is that the same as what is being plugged into it? Make sure that we don't alter it so that would fit in here and not be the appropriate application.
Yes. And to be sure, it says on there also to reduce the risk of shock, use only indoors. Do not plug into another relocatable power strip like this. So when in doubt, read your information on your power strips.
The way this was plugged in would be called a daisy chain, and that's the
I forgot about that. I haven't
last
done
thing
that.
we'd ever want to do is daisy chain. Yeah.
I forgot about that because I don't do that. I may use that outside like I'm not supposed to, but let's look at, on that flyer again, we had, it said use battery-operated candles when possible. So because of Christmas, because of a lot of gifts that our wives get, that happens to be a lot of these little candles with LED lights in them. So they're becoming more and more prevalent. They last a god awful long time also.
Yeah.
So it makes the house a little bit safer also.
Anytime we can reduce or eliminate open flame for decorative purposes, we've already increased our safety margin proportionate. We have so many structure fires or room and content fires that originate as a result of improper use of candles. And too close to combustible materials, close to curtains, or simply leaving them unattended and the container fails and thus causes a unwanted fire.
Okay, going back to the flyer once again, bottom right-hand side, don't forget to water your tree. Dry trees are more likely to ignite. So if you don't water your tree, guess who's going to water it for you? Scott Lewis and the fire department.
And the rest of the interior of your house as well.
Yes. So with that being said, let's look at the video, if we would, of an unwatered tree. So, Scott, some of your comments. One thing, stay low, hug the floor. But what are some of your comments on
It's
that?
a great video because there's nothing like seeing it real time. And the video demonstrates, first of all, how quickly a dry tree is consumed, number one. Number two, it produces so many British thermal units, or BTUs, in such quick fashion that you can see that it ignites the nearby other materials very, very quickly, which now
Right.
they are contributing to the significant increase in the fire load within the structure.
Right, you're going to have your tree next to your gifts with the wrapping paper, which is ultra thin, and it's like kindling. It goes up in just like a second.
Right. And so now most of our furnishings are poly-based materials versus the old hardwoods that when we were growing up. And so those materials, when they ignite, now build up and actually create the thicker, blacker smoke that you would see in most of like flammable liquid type fires. So the space becomes much more untenable in a shorter fashion with more British thermal units, or BTUs. So the whole process is inherently more dangerous. And the fire can double in size anywhere from 20 to 60 seconds, depending on the fuel load.
So if I called you, it'd be probably too late anyway if I'm stuck in there, yeah?
We watched a video that was less than a minute, and you saw the devastation from that fire.
So you see how critical something like that is. Do you warn people away from buying trees early?
We don't necessarily warn them because there's no way of knowing exactly when they were cut. I mean, the sign simply stating freshly cut trees is just that. There's no way to document that and see where they came from. They're coming from the Northwest, or even possibly coming from the East Coast.
Yeah, because I've seen some on some comedy shows that they test the trees, or you hit them like that, the needles fall off. Don't buy it.
So the better bet is to safely assume that they are already extremely dry, and then get them in, cut the end of the stump off, allow it to absorb the water, and give it as much water in the first few days as possible.
Yes, it's very important. Keep your animals, especially cats, away from them on the lower branches. Keep the least amount of ornaments that can cause a problem. We've got some JPEGs, some pictures of some of the little animals and stuff that love your trees. If you want to put that up, the look on his eyes. Oh, I don't know how that happened. So that the cats will actually just jump into the tree and unwittingly, unknowingly pull it down. Blame the doggies, not us. That's so damn cute, yes. And did we have one? Yeah, there he is. They blamed it on me.
And the poor pug is surrounded by the older style light fixtures
Those
that are no longer
110.
LED. Exactly.
Right. Yes. So the new ones are much more cheaper to run, plus they're cooler, they're safer, and they're harder to screw up, to step on.
Exactly.
The little bulbs that pop out.
And if we are going to place a Christmas tree, a live Christmas tree in our houses, we should try to place them in close proximity to the smoke detector, so that
Yes.
you get that immediate response versus a delayed.
I forgot to bring a portable smoke detector, but that's a good time to check it to make sure it's operating. Yes.
And check the batteries.
Yes. Make sure they're in there. So what else do we have? Oh, outdoors. If you're going away for parties, or you're going out of the town, first of all, don't tell everybody you're going out there, especially people you don't know. Don't mention that on Facebook or anything, because people are looking to do bad things about your home. But if you're gone, you could put a lot of your lights in the house on timers, especially in the Christmas time. And my wife is saying it's time for us to change the timers in different rooms. Not that you don't know where I live, so you don't know when we're doing that. But a lot of times the LED bulbs, put them in. These are green ones for outdoor. I've got some two bulbs, LED bulbs with photocells in them for a little Catholic church in Shoshone that we go to. Put those out there. And then the photocells, I've had these on our carriage lights at home since I bought the home, like 20 years, and they haven't worn out. So photocells are excellent for outdoors. You don't have to worry about turning them on or turning them off. They'll do it by themselves when the sun goes down.
And to your point, if you were to leave for maybe a couple of weeks over to the holiday, and you don't trust any of your immediate neighbors, you don't have any family located in the valley, you can contact the sheriff's office. And they will place a code within their CAD system, their computer dispatching, so they would know how to get a hold of you in the event that something did happen at your property. And instead of us having to wait or leave a property in a certain condition because we simply don't know how to get a hold of you.
And then also the post office. Now, when I lived in my old town of Lamont, Illinois, we used to get a free newspaper. We didn't order it, so we went on vacation, and then for 2 weeks, it was piled up in
They
the
were
front.
piled up.
So they knew.
Right.
So anyway, be careful. Don't telegraph that you're not going to be at your home. Driving, things that happen when we're driving. Let's show the picture. What happens when we get a little snow here in town, in Pahrump. There you go, a snowflake. People go goofy. I don't want to say that. A lot of people come here from California, Las Vegas. I'm from the Chicago area, and not that I miss the weather out there, the snow and the ice, but I was accustomed to it, and I know how to react when it does snow and ice. Not that I like driving that way, but we have to be careful. We shouldn't overreact. We should keep our distance from the people in front of us. And what else do we do here?
And we've even seen that with the recent rain events. And, again, the recent precipitation we've had over the last 2 weeks have caused a lot of secondary issues within the valley. Electrical shorting that we talked about earlier. We even had a structure that sustained a partial roof collapse. We've had a roof that actually blew off a vacant structure from the high winds. So, the holiday seasons bring the different and varying weather, and there's so many different issues that come as a result of that. But one of the biggest things is just take your time. Give yourself some extra time on the highways. The rushing has caused so many accidents. The weather has contributed in some ways. But the fatal accidents we've had recently, just want to try and eliminate that as much as we can.
So thank you very much for stopping by again. See you next time.